Good morning, it's Gary Byron, 8:11 here on this Monday morning. Our next guest into the Daily Connerton Memorial Company interview chair hails from a region affectionately known as NORCON. It's short for Northern Connecticut. And he does an excellent job representing NORCON. Let's welcome back to the show State Senator John Kissel. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Gary. And you know, that ticket for that table was really hard to come by. You were very popular.
Well, go on. No. I think it was all Marianne Turner that made that so popular.
Well, it's her party, and we're just guests there.
We're just happy to be in her orbit. Well, you were at the table. Yeah, we had Matt Corey was at our table as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We had a great. It was a great event. It's always a great event every single year. Marianne does an awesome job setting it all up, but all the local town chairs participate. They have their Republicans of the Year. It's just a wonderful event at the Skyline Restaurant in Windsor Locks.
And you were a fun MC.
I try my best. Got to keep that program going.
Nah, they love you up there.
By 9.
You're their buddy. You could easily tell how you are adored in up there. So kudos to you, my friend.
I can't fit through the doorways. My head is so big.
Well, let me deflate it here. 3 weeks left. 3 weeks left in the short legislative session. It's the final sprint. I would imagine it's starting to get tense. Are you nervous that some bills will be called, and are there anything that you're thinking may not get called?
No, not at all. In fact, I mean, if I didn't love this job, I wouldn't run for a re-election every 2 years, which I'm in the middle of doing now. And I love representing my district. And if you don't push back and you don't make the good fights, it would be much more of a steamroller than this one-party state seems to be at the moment. And, you know, I relish the debates that we have on the floor. And we may lose some battles, but hopefully eventually the public catches on. And they realize there's better ways to go about taking care of the people of the state of Connecticut. And that's the biggest part of the battle, right? Trying to represent your constituents as fully and passionately as humanly possible.
It's a great answer. I mean, you serve as ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. That deals, of course, with matters impacting firearms. John, you've always supported the Second Amendment as long as I've known you, and as well as law-abiding gun owners. But Democrats, they just keep trying to grab our guns. And
yeah, you are so right, Gary. And there's another one this year where they're going after the Glock manufacturers, and it's a crazy theory, and they're pushing it like mad. And actually the first people that came and testified at the hearing from out of state, so now they're getting I won't say agitators, but folks from outside Connecticut pushing these agendas. And while it's already illegal under federal law to have this device that you can fashion to a legal Glock handgun that can make it go automatically, and that's against the law, and putting it on your gun is against the law, they want to actually push a bill, which I fully expect may come up this week or next week, that would go after the manufacturers. So they're no longer, I mean, it'll sort of rope in the people that have guns going forward, but actually they're now pretty clearly targeting manufacturers of guns, even though there's federal prohibitions against doing that.
You must have heard, oh my goodness, like hours and hours of testimony, because I know that people came to sign up. Hundreds of people came to sign up for that committee. They just wanted to speak on convertible pistols and Glock switches. How was it emotional?
Well, not so much emotional, because people have seen this story over and over and over again in Connecticut. This is a common trope of the Democrats, is to go after guns and gun ownership as if they cause crime, and which the law-abiding folks do not. But I want to give a huge shout-out to the Connecticut Citizens Defense League and all its members, either in North Central Connecticut or throughout the state. CCDL had lots and lots of people with really well-thought-out testimony. They had the facts at their fingertips, and they just flooded that hearing. But guess what? Majority doesn't care. So I think it's still good to flood the hearings and get the information out there, because eventually tides do change, and we may be at one of those moments where things are going to shift.
Well, you guys just voted on judges, right?
Yes, we did have a slew of a couple of them didn't pass the finish line, but we had 12 that did.
Was it Rosemary Weber of Granby? She's
proud of her. Yes,
Superior Court judge nominee. Huh?
Yeah, but she also gave her heart and soul to local government in Granby. A really good local Republican worked her way up to the chairwomanship of the Board of Education in Granby. A really, really excellent lawyer. Went through various stages of private practice and then ended up working at the Attorney General's office on matters affecting the welfare of children. And she had tons of courtroom experience, and so happy to see her get voted out unanimously by the Judiciary Committee just last Friday. And hopefully she will and she will get past the finish line when we vote on those nominees in the next week or two.
One more question about Judish. You guys deal with all matters concerning state prisons and corrections officers and inmate health, and you represent a region that covers multiple prisons, right?
Yes, Gary. Actually, I have more correctional facilities in my Senate district than any other senator. Tons of corrections officers. And let's face it, that's a tough job. You can't phone it in. You can't Zoom it in. You have to be there in person, keeping the peace for the benefit of your fellow corrections officers and the inmates. And it's a tough environment because you're not surrounded by people that may have committed a crime. They were convicted of committing crime. And one of the problems is that we're having a hard time recruiting new officers to take positions within the Department of Corrections. But also there's good policies that are coming down the road. They want to have more visiting time for the inmates, which I think is good because over 90% get reintegrated back into society. And we want good law-abiding, tax-paying citizens when they get out. But we don't have enough personnel to man the posts in corrections right now. And if we expand some of these visitation policies, it will be even more stress. So we have to. So one of the things I really take very close to heart is making sure that we have the resources and the ability to do the job that we have to do. And the prisons are, 24/7, 365. They can never shut down.
Yeah. And on a related note, speaking of prisons, I know you represent the town of Somers, and there's an interesting issue in Somers dealing with state land and public safety. And I know you're trying to pass a land conveyance. Talk about that briefly.
Well, it was a little tricky because I tried a couple of years ago, but the Department of Administrative Services wanted a couple of appraisals. And the deal that had been worked out with corrections in the town of Somers was that they would get a 3-acre parcel just for the cost of the transaction. So you could say, why is the state giving away 3 acres to the town of Somers? Well, as it turns out, most of the senior inmates are in that neck of the woods. And with seniors across all the state, they tend to get ill more than other folks. And so all the 911 calls were being picked up by the ambulance service in Somers that serves the town. So the town just wanted a little parcel of land so that they could build a communications tower at the town's expense. And it's been like pulling teeth. I mean, I'm not ripping the DAS or anything else like that, but we think we've retailored the bill so it could get out of the Government Oversight Committee this year in its proper form. And hopefully by the end of the session, that bill will get out and the town of Somers can start building that communications tower that not only will be of critical importance to first responders in Somers, but the state will take advantage of it, too.
Is there a shortage of corrections officers and marshals in Connecticut?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not only the corrections officers, they changed their retirement benefits a little bit and when they can actually accrue. And actually, I've heard that because other jobs allow you to work from home, you can never work from home as a CO. So it's becoming less attractive as the years go by for people. But I would say if you have any interest in a good, highly paid, difficult but rewarding job, look into it. And marshals in our courthouses are always lacking, and we could always use those. We keep getting judges, which is good and important to move the business of the courts, but we need security in our courthouses, and sometimes the judicial branch can't even open up courthouses because they don't have the marshals to keep the peace and security within those courtrooms.
Wow.
I know, crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
all is not necessarily well.
Yeah, no. If I'm looking for a career change,
That's crazy. I mean, I got
a career change, I'll consider that.
Well, I'll write a letter of recommendation.
Well, I appreciate that. That's nice of you. All right, let me change gears here a little bit and talk about the other committees that you serve on. Let's go to the tax committee, finance, revenue, and bonding.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I got to be honest. I mean, at least it's an election year. Governor Lamont wants to win re-election. He's got a couple between Aaron Stewart and Ryan Fazio, and there's another woman from downstate. But I think Ryan and Aaron have the best chance as our potential nominees as we go into convention season. But Governor Lamont said, hey, I'll give everybody a tax cut, $200. And one time I mentioned it to him. I said, $200 isn't that huge. He goes, well, I sort of look at it as $400. You're married, right? I'm divorced. So I said, no, it's just $200 for me. But our candidates are looking at over $1,000 in tax cuts. And we want more long-standing fiscal change. And you know what? This is not magic. Other states throughout the country are doing much better than us. And we are just like lagging. And so I don't know why we can't just look around and try to emulate the states that are moving forward economically instead of the stupid regular suspects of California and New York, which aren't getting us anywhere. So, hey, that's just my 2 cents.
No, it's true. And let's face it, you and Republicans want permanent tax relief on property taxes and the income tax. Democrats want tax hikes on the wealthy, and they want to send like you just mentioned, that measly rebate check out to voters just before the election. I just call that gimmickry. But let's talk about that permanent tax relief on property taxes.
Well, yeah, we want to try to do something where the towns could actually get the benefit from the state. You know that the state has a terrible reputation of saying they're going to help towns and then pulling the rug out from underneath them. So we want things that the towns can rely on. But the other side of that coin, Gary, is this. At the same time, the Democrats are saying, oh, we'll give you $200 back this year and don't count on it next year. They're also saying they want to raise capital gains on the rich. And I hate to, I mean, everybody in the state should know. Fairfield County is the economic engine of our state. They're responsible for well over half of our revenues. And when you want to raise the capital gains tax, you scare away. And it's not even scare away. They just get in their lawyers and accountants in a room and say, all right, I want to spend half the year in a day in Florida. How do I make that happen while still living in Greenwich and New Canaan and all those other posh towns? And they can do it in a heartbeat. And New York has done that. And now they're chasing after people in Florida saying, oh, come back and pay your taxes. I mean, that's a fool's errand. So why are we copying New York over the edge of a cliff? It's crazy. So the Democrats really should figure out what their play is economically and stick to it instead of talking out of both sides of their financial mouth. Sorry, Democrats. I like a lot of you guys, but, I mean, sometimes it's hard to figure it out.
Ideologically, you're 100% right. Let me take a 60-second break here. We'll switch gears again. We'll move over to another committee that I know you serve on, general law. More with State Senator John Kissel right now. 25 minutes after 8 o'clock, our guest is State Senator John Kissel. John, you serve on general law, which covers, consumer protection and everything under that umbrella, marijuana, AI. What's of note in that committee that we should be aware of?
Well, they're just going wild. I mean, I was opposed to the legalization of recreational marijuana, in particular because I think it sends the exact wrong message to young people. And I actually think young people get it if you look at how they avoid drinking and tobacco and drugs. But nonetheless, the General Law Committee pushed out a bill to make it just like so much easier to get things that are infused with marijuana and other related cannabinoids and stuff that has a THC, stuff like just skin cream and tinctures that you can drop under the tongue. It's like the Wild West. You can get a soda that has THC in it. So we're just like the majority is just doubling down, saying that we can't compete with Massachusetts and New York. And you know why we can't compete? Because we tax it too much. And so people go right up from like Enfield to Northampton because it's cheaper. And so it has nothing to do with making it more available in its product form. And so things like that, a little wacky. but also some good progress in trying to rein in artificial intelligence just going out of control, or actually dangers for children on the internet. So we're trying to make some progress in those areas. And for that, my friend Senator Maroney, who is a Democrat, I will reach across the party line and say he does a great job on these things. So I'm not all just Republican all the time. It just seems like we have the right ideas like 90% of the time. But I'm a little biased.
Well, no, not you. No, you're not.
I actually am considered very fair and even-handed, but I got to push for my team once in a while.
I have. I better be a little bit more than once in a while. I mean,
you know. I fight like heck. And it's like an uphill battle. God.
Believe me, I mean, you're people I get in here on the show, and from what I recollect, I mean, at least it was a little closer when I was there. How you guys are doing it now is beyond frustrating.
We're down to 11 in the Senate. I mean, I don't want to blow my own horn, but I do fight like heck for my district, and I think the district responds really positively. And so that's why I'm willing to just keep doing this job. I love this job. I love representing. I think I've got the best part of the state of Connecticut and North Central Connecticut, and I love the people that I serve, no matter what party affiliation they are. But when you meet that big Democratic beast down in Hartford, it's one-party rule for decades. It just doesn't always work out, and we could do so much better. We just could do so much better.
I agree. And listen, being up there, I mean, your constituents, who's, like I said at the top of the hour, it's very obvious that they love you. What should we be aware of in the next week or two that is potentially get voted on in the Senate that we need to be aware of?
Well, I think you should watch out for shenanigans regarding limiting ICE's powers and their ability to do federal law. I think, obviously, Second Amendment issues and this whole attack on manufacturers should be scrutinized. And also, what is the overarching policy for the state of Connecticut? Are we pro-business? Are we pro-jobs? Or are we just going to give out some crumbs off the table in an election year and then go back to being really, really difficult to do anything in for businesses or families in the years going forward? And try to give Republicans a second look because I think we've got some incredibly good answers and some extraordinarily hardworking individuals that want to make this state a better place.
It's just a matter of the Democrats will even allow the Republicans a seat at the table and take us up on some of our great ideas.
We're all in this state together, and just because I have an R next to my name doesn't mean all my ideas are bad. No, you were exactly right.
All right. Keep up that fight, brother. I appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for being with us.
You're a rock star, Gary. Thank you.
That's not true, but thank you. All right. You got it, buddy. Open phones are next. All our lines are open. It's been a real quiet Monday.